it's very responsive without throttle.
You like it?
I like that. That is fantastic.
It's a good looking bike, really. I'm actually coming around to thinking I prefer the look of this to the Pro 3.0. It's just less fussy, I guess. Let's start down the back here. Torn derailleur, coated chain, stop it rusting. It's got 7-speed, 14/28 tooth freewheel, and that nice derailleur guard there. These really are solid. 48 tooth chain ring, double-sided guard, and we've got metal pedals. Nice 25 kilo weight rack. Battery goes in there. Markered stem for the seat post, really comfortable saddle. Heavy duty clasp, keep the bike together, and it is strong. Better cable management, I do like that. It is far better than the old design where the cables were running everywhere. You know, now they run inside. I like that. On our fork set, 20x4 wheels wrapped in a road tyre, which has 3mm of anti-puncture liner, which, yeah, I don't know. But the Chow Yang, and they are very grippy, especially on the roads. And that's the opposite side there for the quick release wheel, which it has plastic fenders, front and rear, which I prefer, and a folding stem. Obviously it's a folding e-bike, so folding stem helps. And it's the one we've seen on other bikes. It's very tough and it's very well engineered. You've got the motor in there, which is rated at 250 watts, but it ain't. Now all the connectors, they're there on the front of the bike. You no longer have to get into the controller that in there. You can now connect replacement parts like lights, brakes, etc. without having to get into the controller, which is brilliant. And that's that really good clasp I like for the motor connector. 180 rotors. Got really, really good brake calipers, 2-piston, and spoked wheels, which I prefer. I'll explain why in a breakdown. Let's have a look at these connectors. So if you need to replace the brakes for any reason, you can now replace them without having to get into the controller. You could just break them out here. Same with the lights, front and rear. Look at that stem. You can obviously increase the height of the stem. And it's a very sturdy system, that's why they use it. Again, on-off suspension. It's either on or off. But like I said, I think they've changed the springs to it. Another view of that quick release arm for the front wheel. And I welcome the quick release, I really do. Palm rest grips, control buttons there, boost button there, that really bright screen, which doesn't matter what the light is, it's really bright. Trigger finger, 7-speed gear changer. Can't stand those two stone things, I always mention it, but I do like these palm grips. While I'm at it, Meet Chow HD mirrors, no affiliation with them. I'm forever asked in the comments, just search Meet Chow HD. They sell them separately and they're not cheap, but they are the best mirrors I've found out there. And if you can be bothered to search through my shorts, no pun intended, you'll find a little mini review of them in there. Another view of the suspension in that saddle, it really does work well. 13.5 amp hour 48 volt battery. There's the key port there to remove it. On the one side you've got the charge port, and on this side you've got the power switch. And it does make a change. Anybody that's owned one of the previous bikes will tell you, getting that battery out, murder. It's like fighting a metal snake. Now you just key the battery out. Far better solution. So let's talk about this frame, because there you go, CE mark there. So let's talk about this frame. I want to mention something I didn't mention in my video for the Pro 3.0, because I didn't realise, and I don't think any other e-bike reviewer has, not that I know of anyway. It looks fabulous, doesn't it? Can't see any welds at all on this one. There's no welds. You can't see anything. So the one thing I think everybody's missed, the frame's magnesium. It's a magnesium frame. And I missed it. And I don't think ENGWE sent it out in the notes, but the frame's more expensive. It's lighter pound for pound, and it really does deal with vibration far better than Chinese aluminium. It's a massive upgrade. Torque sensor there, which is a really good torque sensor, by the way. But yeah, nobody's mentioned it. The frame, I'll put it up there in the notes there, it's magnesium. Stronger than aluminium, absorbs vibration better than aluminium. It's brilliant. So you're probably going to ask, well, why does the bike weigh more? Well, the construction of the frame gives that away. It's a totally different construction. It's far sturdier. So while it's a kilo or two heavier than the original bike, the EP-2 Pro 2 Boost, whatever, it's stronger. Those rear lights are really bright. You can't see in this light, but have a look at this. It works on inertia instead of the brake lever. There's that 2 LED headlight, new design. Hydraulic brake levers, I keep pointing out. Logan are one of my favourite brakes, and these are the nearest thing to Logan you'll get. And I think these are just Logan copies. They did use them on the original Pro. So yeah, all in all, cracking package. Especially for the money. What you have to remember is what you're getting for the money. With my discount code, it's even cheaper. Let's go see how it rides. Right, we're going to start off with the brake test. It's a bit slippy down here today, actually. So we're up to 27, 28, 29. Hitting the corner now. Let's hit the oh yeah, they're fine. They're really good brakes. And it's these Logan copies that I like on these bikes that I think it's better than Tektro. And for a 2-pot caliper, they're brilliant. They've got really good stopping power. Yeah. And you might notice by the speed I'm doing now, I've sorted out the unlock code for this bike, so it's running unlocked today. So it's likely that we'll be taking it down the bypass run. So for now, let's do the hill climb. So we've got the bike unlocked, but that doesn't have any real effect on the torque when it's going uphill. It just unlocks the speed. And remember, when we've unlocked the speed, we've now sort of reduced the battery capacity because it's giving out more watts than it was before. So just bear that in mind, and bear in mind that when it's unlocked, it's no longer UK and EU legal. But my thing with this is, it's ludicrous that you have to buy 2 bikes, one for off-road and one for coming up hills like this on the road. It's stupid. I mean, this would do the same coming up here. locked or unlocked. So yeah, I was having no problems getting up here, but this time, because it has 15 Newton meters less than the Pro, the Engine Pro 3.0, I'm using the boost button, but it's made it up here quite easily. So it means we can go do the bypass run. So let's do the pass test. I'm on pass 0 at the moment, and let's go up into third, second, first. You can pedal it, but you wouldn't want to. Let's go up to pass 1. I can feel a bit of a bite, but it's nothing major. You can see by the speed going up on there. Let's go to 2. Yeah, a bit more bite, so I'll drop the gears. 3. Yeah, you can definitely feel a bit more bite. And I'll start off at this when the lights change. So let's go. We're in third. Let's hit the boost button and see what happens. Yeah, I mean that's hitting the boost button. Let's go into fourth. Definitely a lot more assistance. And if we go into fifth, yeah, plenty of assistance there. And this will cut out the speed limit there, but obviously I've got the bite unlocked, so if I hit the boost button, go into 7th. So remember, this isn't giving me torque, it's giving me speed. And as before in the video, I've described that speed is how fast you go into the wall. Torque is how fast you go through the wall. It's that push. Speed and torque are just two different things. But yeah, so far I'm loving it. And I also feel that the unlock speed on it isn't major. You'd need a bigger chain ring to get the most out of it. So you probably get up to 24, 25 mile an hour at my weight on the flat. Probably more if you weighed less. Because don't forget, this thing's dragging around 240 pounds with my backpack, which is no lightweight really. A lot of the reviewers I see hover around the 200 pound mark, and half my age, so yeah, so far so good. So this is the hill we come up, which is another steep hill, coming up to the bypass run. And I've just dropped down from 7th to 6th to 5th. I say, with me on, and my pack on, it's 240 pound on this bike in weight, so now I can hit the boost button if I want a bit more help. Throws more torque into the bike, which is where it gets up to its 75 Newton meters, which is 15 behind the Engine Pro 3.0 boost. And I can sort of feel it a bit. I can feel the difference. Anyway, let's do the bypass run. It's a half windy day, it's not that windy. Don't know if the mic will pick it up. So I've got dead cat on it. So, but yeah, let's get down onto the bypass. So I'll repeat what I normally repeat coming down here. If you're coming down on riding on sort of stuff like this, you need to make sure you've got an helmet, gloves and mirrors, because they make all the difference. You can see everywhere around you at that point, which you need to do. You need to have your head on a swivel when you're doing this. So, pass 5, hit the boost button. Nice little traffic, they're all giving me space until it's a weekend, because during the week they'll be trying to run me off the road. I say, got it unlocked, coming along here, 21 mile an hour. Yeah. I have a real issue with coming along here with bikes that only do 15.5 mile an hour, except for one I trusted to do it, which was the R20 3.0 Pro boost. 100 newton meters of torque. You could get in and out of situations quite quickly with that. And hit the boost button. And as you can see, I'm away. Drop the cogs a bit. Going over the M1 now. The M1 motorway. So we can make the lights. Yes. Yeah, no issues. You know, if you're just pedaling along this and you're not using the boost button, you're getting near the speed limit without much effort. And when it's unlocked, you can obviously put more energy into the torque sensor. And if you want, you can hit the boost button. It gives you that full 75 newton meters of torque. And that makes a big difference. It's actually like a nice spring day out here today. It's really nice. This morning there was fog everywhere, but it cleared up. BBC weather app as usual said thick fog all day, so I knew it was going to be sunny. So another brake test here, 25 mile an hour. Yeah, these brakes are solid. The only reason I'm not putting a full stop on is I got a car behind me. And I can tell I got a car behind me because I'm using mirrors. I think ENGWE are going to put these brakes on every future bike they do, because I think they're sick to death of me and other YouTubers moaning about mechanical brakes not being fit for purpose. Any bike over 20 kilos that can go over 20 mile an hour, they should have hydraulic brakes as standard. And you say, I'm just freewheeling down here. It's one of the benefits of these road tyres, that there's no rolling resistance to them. Well, there is a bit, because obviously the tackiness of that tyre to the road surface, but they're fine, they're brilliant. And I definitely, for the amount of time I go off-road on an e-bike, and it's rare, but these are good enough to go off-road with, but the majority of the time you're riding around on the roads and on the streets. That's where I see the benefit of these tyres. And I know you're all going to say, oh, the Chow Yang, they're shit. How do you know? Have you used them? Like I said, I'm coming around to the fact that for a budget tyre, they're very good tyres. Yeah, I definitely like these tyres. And as I've said in a previous video, they definitely remind me of those Kenda Crays that I was using. They've got a slightly different tread pattern, but you know, it gives you that benefit of a smoother tyre. Right, we're coming up to the Benny Hill. So if you're new to the channel, it's a long, windy, uphill trudge that really takes it out of the battery. And again, I'll repeat what I repeated on my previous review. The reason I do these hills is where you need an e-bike on the hills. It's important. It don't matter how fast it gets you up there, as long as it gets you up there. So let's see what we can get up this hill at. I'm coming in with a faster approach today than I normally would, obviously, because it's unlocked. And I'm currently in 7th. Well, I'll drop the gears down in a minute, which I'll come up to 6 now. Should really fly the drone over this at some point so you can see the gradient, but I can't because the prison's nearby. So it's a no-fly zone. I might be able to get a glimpse of it from outside the no-fly zone. To 3rd now, let's hit the boost button. It's coming up here nicely actually. I've not got any burn in my quads. I'm burning the battery heavily because I've got the boost button on and it's unlocked. But yeah, no issues. Let's get near the lane. Like the Engine Pro 3.0 boost, these tyres make it feel like they're gliding along, which is a really nice feeling. Currently got the front fork locked because obviously I'm riding around the road, and having the front fork open and that playing the fork, that suspension, actually bites into your battery a bit. So every time you brake, you dig into the floor. Anyway, I'm in 3rd gear. I'm going to get up to here and we're going to do the partial hill test. So we're going to stop here. So we stopped here. 3rd gear, past 5, hit the boost button, and we're away. Took a bit of effort in 3rd gear, but if I'd have been 1st, this would have zoomed up here. But yeah, no issues. Gone are the old days where you had to sort of like get off the bike and push up a hill if you were at traffic lights because you knew that bike wouldn't get going. Even with the throttle in some cases. So I'm gonna unlock the front fork because we're going over the rough road. It's an absolutely gorgeous day. And they're off again. Yeah, let's go over the rough bits. There's no knocking whatsoever. It's a really well put together bike. That little bit of knocking you just heard, or what sounded like knocking, was the chain rattling. So let's go around town. Right, let's go have a mooch around town. Oh, let's see if I can make them lights. Yeah. So let's have a see how stable it is. The squeaking you can hear are these tyre treads. That's where the grip comes on, and it's really, 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 really nimble. Obviously, because it hasn't had the knobbly tread to deal with. Right, let's do the tyre grip test. They don't look, it's their problem, not mine. So coming down here, I say if I'm ever going to come off, you can see the camber here that I'd pull it into, and these tyres are fine, really good grip, as you'd expect from a road tyre really, probably better grip than the knobbly is on the road. So yeah, as a road bike it fulfills all the functions you want. It's a nice aggressive looking bike, and I actually really like the colour. Initially when I put it together in the kitchen, I thought it was the same green as the Engine Pro 2.0 that I've got, but it's not. It's more of a matte finish and it's a slightly lighter green. And it looks really nice. Again, the bike's got more of a road presence than the L20 3.0 Boost. And again, it benefits from that visibility thing. Not that the L20 3.0 Boost is invisible, but you know, it gives you a better aspect presence on the road, which again is something you need. One of the questions I'm going to get asked is, if you unlock it, is it illegal? Technically yes, but as you can see here, I'm pedalling away in fourth up a slight hill and I'm not bombing around. So only until I put effort into the chain ring, oh, I can make that, and hit the boost button, that you can feel the difference, and you get to drop the gears down. So it's one of these things where if you want all of it, you've got to put a fair bit of effort in, but you know, the legal thing's still there, and it is illegal once it's unlocked. Is it illegal because it's unlockable? That's a real grey area really, because all the police tests I've seen don't involve, you know, checking to see if it can be unlocked. And if they turn the pedals around without using the boost button, you've got to put a lot of effort in if you're doing it by hand. You're probably only get up to about 12 mile an hour. With the boost button, I'd be surprised if they get past 15. So again, you know, like I said, all the things I've seen on YouTube where police have a look at the bike, that's all they do. They check to see if the bike has a CE mark on it, and then they do the pedal test. And if it passes that, you're on your way. So, you know, if I was keeping the bike, I can't keep them all. I just don't have the space. But if I was keeping the bike, I'd ride around with it unlocked and just not take the piss. Because it's then that the police won't have a look at you. Yeah, you can feel the stiffness in the frame. It's stiffer than the Engine Pro 3.0 Boost Pro. I don't know, I'm sick of saying it now, so I'm just going to go the Engine Pro 3. You can always feel flex in the bike when you're sort of like going into bends and stuff, and there's no flex in this bike whatsoever. So yeah, fab. So we come down to the water park today for a change. Weather's changed, so yesterday was nice, today not so nice, but according to the BBC weather app that I absolutely despise, and I've tried all the other apps and they're all just as bad each other, should start calling it weather guessing, not forecasting. Anyway, it's meant to be nice today and it's not, so but I've got to get out to get this finished. So yeah, this is what it's like on the rougher stuff, the gravel, and it's fine. You know, I'm not feeling it in my backside. I don't feel like I'm missing out by not having the rear suspension. In fact, if you want rear suspension, just get a really good suspension seat post, which is better than the suspension on the Engine Pro 3.0, because if you've got an adjustable seat post, you can set it up to how you want it. And here's the measurements here if you want to get one. And I'll put a link into the suspension seat posts I tested, the two of them, and which was the better of the two, into the description. So it might be worth looking at that. But they're about 70 or 80 quid, so they're nothing expensive. But yeah, this is bumpy, ratty, gravelly. Basically, what you're going to find off-road, really. You know, we'll take it across some mud in a bit so you can get an idea of it on the grass. But as I proved with the Engine Pro 3.0, it's fine on the grass. The grass is pretty damp today. So yeah, even on this gravelly stuff, these brakes, they're really good. You know, you clamp these brakes on just a bit and you're stopped. You know, if you pull them on fully hard, you're going to just go sliding across the gravel. Which now brings me on to the tyres. I know I've already mentioned it, but these Chaoyangs are pretty good. They really are pretty good. You know, you can hit the brakes and you know you've got good grip. And they grip really well. I know some of you are going to say, oh, the Chaoyang road tyres, blah, blah, blah. Well, none of you have tried these tyres yet, unless you own these bikes. And they're good. You know, for me, belt and braces would be Tannis armour and some flat out inside. You're never going to have to worry about punctures again, and I put that on all the bikes I own. It's well worth the investment, because those bikes, they've never had a puncture, and if they have, I've not known about it. So that's something I recommend that you do on all of these bikes. If you want to bypass getting punctures, don't matter what the tyre is, you're still going to be open to it. You know, Tannis armour and flat out reduces that risk incredibly. So just a point of thought there. So yeah, as you can see, I'm going around the water park now. Really knobbly, sharp gravel. You know, you can hear it under tyre. But these tyres are fine on it, which is basically what you need, really. You don't want to be worried about your tyre grip, do you? So it's got a bit of off-road going on. This is quite knobbly around here. There's bits of everything. Dips, knobbles, ruts. And it's fine. You've got good grip with these tyres, regardless of what you probably would think. It's quite damp. So yeah, you know, as you can see here, this is all up and down. And that front suspension's fine. It's really good. You know, there's nothing wrong with this front suspension whatsoever. It's good enough. I mean, if you want to go out all out and get air shocks, well, you really don't need it. Let's go over. As you can see, this is absolutely fine. Yep, off-road. I mean, this is a lot rougher than I normally go over in the park, so, you know, divots, ruts, cut grass on top. I mean, it's not well maintained, it's just trimmed, isn't it? So yeah, gets a thumbs up from me. Let's go back to the fact that I've got this bike unlocked and what that means. Well, it's not a real major power boost. It's enough. I mean, you can get up to about 23, 24 mile an hour with my weight on, which is 240 pounds with my pack. If you want a bit more poke in this bike, having it unlocked, my advice is you change the chainring up a bit, because that would transform the bike a bit more. You know, the small tooth count, well, the medium tooth count on this bike for the chainring's a bit minimal. It really needs to be a 52, maybe a bit higher chainring tooth count. But it's not bad at all. You know, and it sort of keeps you still legal. Nobody's going to be looking at you doing 20 mile an hour. as an aside, this is unlocked and I've got it in pass 5, gear 7. I'm putting, you know, I'm just turning my legs really. There's a bit of pressure coming from my feet to get the torque sensor going, but it sticks it around about the speed limit. It's only when you give it some beans and then hit the boost button that you're getting that extra power. So the way I see it, if you get pulled over on it and it says legal all over the bike, and after seeing all the videos of how they test these bikes for Uber riders and whatever, they just lift the back wheel up and turn it, hit the chain ring, and sort of see if it's compliant. Well, you're going to put a lot of force into this torque sensor to get even up to the speed limit. So I think if you were pulled over, you'd be safe with this bike. You know, safe in the knowledge that unlocked, but you know, that's a legal thing. But I don't think even if you got pulled over, you get. In fact, they're genuinely looking for bikes that have just got throttles, because the police, they don't want to put any effort into catching anybody anyway. But if they do, they don't want to be turning the crank on something till their arms hurt. Well, that's my point of view. I'd be quite happy riding this around unlocked. So here I am, happily plodding away, doing the speed limit-ish, and not really putting a lot of effort into this bike whatsoever. It's, to be honest, I think this is how bikes should be a standard now. You know, you can, fair enough, have the boost buttons getting that thing sort of up past the speed limit, but you need the ability to unlock these bikes, or they're just going to buy it from somebody else. I think ENGWE are going the wrong way saying that these bikes can't be unlocked, and they can. They've never ever given me out an unlock code, ever. And it's always been people unlocking them off their own backs, knowing that that's not a 250 watt motor at the back, so why would you bother putting that in? Because different markets allow different speed restrictions. In other marketplaces, these will go out unlocked. Why build 2 controllers? Why build 2 bikes? I think it's the fact that it can be unlocked is a wise way to go. Because I know I keep harping on about it, but the government's ludicrous in the fact that they expect us to buy an electric bike for off-road because it goes over 15.5 miles an hour, and then to on the road has to be legal. It's ridiculous. Let the police do the work. You know, let them pull people over. If they're unlocked and they get caught with it, that's their problem. But this whole self-policing thing where the police do nothing really. You've seen my videos in Leeds where you see these Uber riders riding around, these delivery riders, clearly on illegal bikes. You can tell by the 2,000 watt motors, you can tell by the fact that they ain't pedalling. And nobody does anything about it. And you get one copper that's bored one day, pulls over somebody, always bring that Engine X picture up, and he has his bike taken off him, confiscated. It's just ludicrous. And the good news is, if you're expecting any change to the e-bike laws anytime soon, not this Parliament, I'm afraid. Whoever gets in next, it's not going to be a priority. We could be 6 or 7 years away from any real change in the e-bike laws. And I think in the meantime, there needs to be an amnesty on these bikes. You know, if you bought it and it was illegal, you didn't realise it was illegal, but you're riding it around legally because you can lock it, you should be allowed to do that. There should be an amnesty on bikes that, you know, you bought not knowing they could be unlocked, but they turned up unlocked and you've locked it, so it's technically you're riding around legally on it. Like I said, let the police do some work. It's a really good, in fact there's two really good pork pie shops to my left. And I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. Shit, I've passed them now. It's a bit where you see me cut and go back. Who doesn't love a good pork pie? These new e-bikes that ENGWE are bringing out, there's a good argument after riding it round unlocked like this that they shouldn't be penalised in any way, shape or form for selling locked bikes like this. They shouldn't. And it genuinely makes the bike feel safer. Luckily that's not for me. But yeah, they genuinely make the bike feel safer. You've got that quick burst of speed when you need it. And there's a lot to be said about that. I think the fact that if you have to struggle to get off the line with an e-bike, even on the flat, you know, you're putting yourself in a position where you're unstable on the road and whatever's behind you at the side of you could end up running you over. With these, it's a different animal. I've got my foot on the torque set so I can feel the bike hunting a bit. What we're looking at here is your choice, the ability to have a little bit more power when you need it. And it's not a big amount of power, I can feel it. It's got 75 Newton meters of torque. I know it's not the 90 Newton meters of the Pro 3.0, but it's quite a bit. Anyway, let's do the other horrible hill. I've got the boost button on, got it in 5th gear, and I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on those pedals. In fact, I'm going to drop it to 6. And it's gliding up here, literally gliding. Saddle's comfortable. I think I mentioned that. I think it's the same saddle. I think I mentioned it in the 3.0 Pro review. And it's one of my bugbears with ENGWE. Bloody saddles. Up to 7th. Oh yeah. Bit of freewheeling. Yeah. For those of you moaning, oh, I prefer the alloys. They're heavier. These spoke ones give a little bit more give in them. Helps with the ride quality. You've also got a quick release front wheel. What's not to like? It keeps the weight of the bike down. And for range, that's all important. So, also in the comments, I keep hearing people going about, oh, it needs to have a throttle. It doesn't. And that's because the torque sensor is a throttle for your feet. It genuinely is. The only way I can describe it. You don't have to put much effort in to get the pace out of it. You know, unlike a throttle, it's not a weak start. You know, you've got the boost button here, plus the torque sensor. This thing shifts off the line. Even in 7th. It genuinely shifts a bit. And there's a lot to be said about that as well. I'm in 7th now. 7th gear, slightly uphill. That's where we're at. So hit the boost button and I'm away. In 7th. I'm round town, it's got that presence I was talking about. You know, but even when I'm in my car, people just walk out in front of me, but it's got a little bit more of a bigger presence, and I like that. It's a chunky thing. Like I said, most of us, most of the time, will be riding it round on roads. You don't need knobblies. These are ideal. Better range because there's hardly any rolling resistance. There is quite a bit actually, but there's not as much as a knobbly tyre. It shifts when you want it to shift. And you don't start ghost pedaling until about 23 mile an hour, which you're going to get to downhill anyway, regardless whether it's unlocked or locked. Dare I say it, it's got quite good range. So far I've been milling around on it. It's been recharged while I've been back home, and I think it's down to about 3 bars, but I've been back out today. I'll probably hit 2 bars, so that'll be like a full hit. Well, I reckon I'm going to get about 30 miles range in past 5 doing all the hills and everything else I do on these bikes. So that's not bad at all, is it? They spent a couple of months fixing this road down here, putting new pipe works in, and then the mains have burst where they were working. So all the new pipe work there is just burst, and they're back at it again, cutting this down to 1 lane. Good work, lads. I'll tarmac over again. So they've been at that again for nearly a week. Poignant sign there. One of the other things with this bike, that it's about time. So if you've owned the Pro or the EP-2 Pro or the 2, you know what it's like getting the battery out. You know what it's like trying to get that little plug into the charge point, because it's stiff and sometimes it never lines up properly, so you end up shaving a bit off the charger port. And that little rubber bung, that comes out quite often too. You know, you think you pushed it in, you're out riding in rain, and then you realise that there's water got into the battery, or none of those problems anymore. And this comes with a 4 amp charger. I know it's not the same as the 8 amp charger on the Engine Pro 3.0, but it's only 13 amp hour battery, which means you can charge this in a few hours from 10%, less than 10%, 5%, 3 hours later, battery fully charged and you're away again. So you're getting that to boot. You know, these bikes, they're a bargain for what they're giving you. They really are a bargain. The build quality from like the original versions of these I tested, it's a world apart. It really is a world apart. You know, the smoothness of that welding, where they've linished the weld and they've polished it out before powder coating, just makes the bikes just look quality. And they are. Look how bright that is. I have no problem seeing that in any light. When I was out riding the other day, looking down in bright light, it's doing a cracking job. So what's my thoughts on it? Well, it's got a couple of minuscule flea bites on it that are just, they're not criticisms really, they're just a bit of penny pinching, but one of them's the pedals. And I should have brought this up on the review for the Engine Pro 3.0, because if you've got a folding e-bike and you're putting it in your car or whatever else, ideally you want folding pedals, because these make the bike stick up. And there's some really good quality wide folding pedals out there that I've been buying on Amazon, you know, for rating people's bikes for them, and they're really good quality and they're really strong. You know, they're full metal and they're folding and they're wider than these plastic ones that ENGWE were using. So yeah, for me, it's one of the things I change on these bikes. But I've got a couple of other niggles that I'll go through in the breakdown, but nothing anything to sort of like, they're just the only things I can find to moan about, and they're not even moans. As you can tell, I like this bike, and why wouldn't I? Again, this goes down to when you get a form off of ENGWE come through in your email, I'll ask you to fill in what you want from an e-bike, fill it in. So I'll point this out in all my other videos. If you don't fill it in, ENGWE will give you the bike they think you want, not the bike ideally you want. And they are listening. A lot of my gripes that I've had over these bikes, I always fill that form in. I also give the feedback to my contact at ENGWE, and they do change things. So it's something to bear in mind. Anyway, let's get on with the breakdown. So, Magnesium. Even I didn't cotton onto it straight away. So that's both the new bikes, the EP-2 3.0 Boost and the Engine Pro 3.0 Boost 2. So they're both made of magnesium, which is a big deal for me. And it explains the stiffness of the bikes and the lack of vibration coming through the seat. Yeah, I did notice it, and I just thought it was down to the suspension, but it became more apparent when I was riding around on the EP-2 3.0. So there aren't a lot of negatives. In fact, there's some small fleas, bits of fleas, whatever. I wish they'd put decent folding pedals on here, and that's about it. It's the only thing missing. Maybe a bigger battery. So let's talk about the positives. I like the spoke wheels, quick release front wheel. I like the fact that it's made of magnesium. I like the display. I love the brakes. I love the tyres. Did I mention the spokes? I love the spoke wheels. You know, the old quick release thing, just better. Just better. If you're folding the bike up and you need a little bit more space, just take the front wheel off. And it's no big deal. It takes seconds. So yeah, riding around, it's very, very comfortable. Height-wise, 5'2" to 6'3" maybe. I know what it says on the website, but that's what I pull it down to. It's brilliant when it's unlocked. It's brilliant when it's not unlocked. It's just a good bike. So I've got to score it. And how do I score it? Well, so I'm going to put myself in a bit of a pickle here, because I'm going to give it 9.8 out of 10. So that means now I've got 3 bikes with 9.8 out of 10. And the reason I'm giving it that is because of its simplicity. It's so simple. There's less to go wrong on it. It's just... Maybe it's because I had it unlocked, and like I did with the Engine Pro 3.0, but it's just a comfortable, it's just a lovely bike. I really do like those tyres. Like I said, 99 whatever% of the time, nobody's going to be taking this off-road. And within that, you just end up with this bike that it's everything you need. Range wise, one charge, 10% of battery left, about 32 miles. On the downside, the wish list would have been decent folding pedals, not those plastic ones, and I'll add a link into the ones that I've been using. And maybe a bigger battery, 15 ampere, the same as the Pro, but I'll find out and I'll add it into another video at some point. If that, you can buy the spare battery from the Pro to fit in this. I should have thought so. So yeah, blown away by it, and I'm just trying to keep this simple. Really, really good e-bike, 9.8 out of 10. And next month I'm doing a review of my 3 favourite e-bikes of the year, so that's going to be a bit of a giveaway, but you might end up with a bit of a surprise. Magnesium frame, I'll keep saying it. If you're looking for an e-bike and you want something simple that you can unlock and take all over the place, especially if you're a food delivery rider, this is brilliant. You'll get, see, I'm £240 and I got 30 miles plus out of it. If you weigh sort of like 4 stone lighter than me, which you're likely to do if you're going to be a delivery rider, you get better range. Quick charger. So you can now charge this bike in 3 hours from 10%. 13.5 ampere battery, 48 volt. You can charge it in just over 3 hours from flat, which is real big bonus. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to keep it at that. Have a nice day, everyone.